Okay, this is Christmas 1962, as we said, but these scenes are not in our Michigan Avenue apartment. They're actually in my parents' apartment. It's Christmas Eve, and at that time my parents were still living at 1330 Birchwood Avenue in Chicago, where I had grown up from the time I was 6. My grandfather had built this apartment building many years before, my grandfather O'Connell, and so we are visiting back at my parents' on Christmas Eve.
We were living at 832 Michigan at the time.
Right.
And some of the scenes to come will be in the 832 address.
Right, the next day in Christmas. Right now we're going to see scenes of the little table and chairs that my parents gave the children and they used for many years afterwards. And also in action here will be a little tea set that also went with the set. There's Charlie we're looking at right now. Now Charlie was just over a year and a half, his birthday being in July. And he and Mary Ann have on little brother-sister Christmas suits as outfits, as you will see in a minute when you see more pictures of Mary Ann. There you see she has the jumper and the same blouse. There's Bob.
Uncle Bob.
Yeah. Entertaining the little ones, having a cup of tea with them.
Bob's a pretty good MC, isn't he?
Yeah. By the way, these pictures, films, were all in talk. But there's no way at this time, as we are recording these, that we're able to get the film to talk because we don't have the proper camera. We don't even know if they're made anymore.
I overlooked the whole problem for simplicity so we could get this thing going. Later on, I think I may be able to find out how to get the sound on for a separate showing of all these films, or something like that.
And also, which of course you don't see, this was no easy gimmick to do these films. We had to have big floodlights, and cords were running all over the place, and flashing, and it was very complicated. We rented all this equipment, and you would have thought we were moving, getting all the stuff in and out.
Yeah, a lot of work.
Yeah.
How well I remember.
You should. Now, the chair my dad is sitting in with Charlie there, at this time we still have that chair. It was reupholstered, and I actually think it went back to an aunt of my mother, so it's a very old antique chair at this point.
Just recouping a little bit, Nancy, for the record here, I'm talking like an attorney, but we were married in 1959. The first place we lived was in Chicago, I think about a block from your parents, at 7649 Northeast Lake Terrace, right on the very edge of Chicago.
Right.
And a mile and a half from 832 Michigan Avenue, to which we moved about a year and a half later, was it?
No, we lived on East Lake Terrace 3 years.
3 years, okay.
And we lived in the Michigan Avenue apartment for 2 years. So those were our first addresses.
And then in '64, we moved to Glenview, to 235 Wilmette Avenue.
In Glenview.
In Glenview.
And that was, well, we moved to Glenview partly because you had opened your second law office.
Yes, at 1812 Glenview Road. And I had the original office space down on the Loop in Chicago, one north of LaSalle.
We had moved to where we are living at this time, at 832 Michigan Avenue. Very lovely apartment building. We moved there at the suggestion of another couple who are friends of ours, John and Mary Connolly. And
you mean Frank Connolly?
I mean Frank. I'm sorry. Yeah,
Frank and Mary Connolly.
Right. And you've got warm feelings for Frank.
Yeah, Frank was a good friend. I'll tell you,
he was generous to your brother in Bangladesh.
They were a nice couple, Frank and Mary. There was another couple living near us there, too, at 832 Michigan.
Right, their name was Underhill.
Underhill, yeah, Mary Ann and Robin Underhill.
Robin was from England, and all during 1963, I was chairman for the Sacred Heart Candlelight Ball, which was no easy task. It was held in the Drake Hotel. There was 600 people for dinner and for ballroom dancing. And we had to have a decoration theme, and so thanks to the Underhills, he worked for the Kennard shipping line. We were able to get all the decorations from the Kennard Corporation, and they also awarded a cruise to the Bahamas, cruising was somewhat new at that time. Okay.
Also, to get this thing in time and space, 832 Michigan and your parents' home and my own parents' place at 1017 Grove were all quite near each other. I think we were about less than 2 miles from 1017 Grove, where Dad and Mom lived at the time.
Yeah, that's right.
So everything was very convenient to the door, as the Irish say.
Right. Interestingly also, which the children have certainly heard before, but Nana and my mother grew up in the neighborhood of Rogers Park in the north end of Chicago, and both families had been friends, not really close friends until you and I started. I mean, they were close friends in the sense of being a long-term friendship, but they didn't see each other a lot until you and I got together.
I think they knew Aunt Geraldine very well, too, didn't they?
Yeah, my mother went to school with Aunt Geraldine.
Right. Aunt Geraldine Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
Mother's sister.
And your mother dated my mother's oldest brother, Dr. John T. O'Connell, before she met and obviously married your father.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of family connections there.
Yeah. It was a very small world back in those days, and it must have been a wonderful world in many ways.
Well, every age has its good points and
That's
its
right.
bad points.
We look back and we look ahead, and we never have time for what's going on in front of us. Very true.
Well, as you can see, Marianne is really enjoying the tea set. And
that was her main present, I guess.
well, from my parents, as far as toys, they were always extremely generous with clothes. Oh, okay. There's Ellie. Ellie was visiting from. She was living in Washington, and she came home for the Christmas holidays. This was before she and Dave were married. They were married in June 1st of 1963. At St. Mary's Church in Evanston, which was your parents' parish. And the reception was, I believe, in the Georgian Hotel in Evanston. But she, when these pictures were taken, was just home for the Christmas holidays. She, by the way, and my brother were godparents to Mary Ann.
Yes.
And, of course, they were the ones who also stood up for us at the wedding. Ellie's the maid of honor and Bob the best man.
And there's Mary Ann playing the piano.
Uh-huh. Plunking away. Well, that was obviously another present from my parents, who later from them we got a real piano, and sort of a trade-in deal of my parents' grand piano.
So, John is on the way
No, George.
George is on the way as these pictures are being taken, right?
Right.
He's due to arrive in about
yes, lots of
4 months.
April things. Mary Ann's birthday is April the 2nd, and mine, of course, was April the 23rd. And your parents was their anniversary was in April the
10th.
Okay, and my parents was April the 16th, which also became George's birthday. He was born on my parents' anniversary, much to their delight. So lots of April activities.
There's my dear mother. She certainly enjoyed these Christmas get-together.
Right.
Oh, gosh. Charlie's getting into the